Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a bit of a different angle. We're looking at a pretty philosophical source, a spiritual video, actually.
Yeah.
And it makes this huge promise, right? The secret to becoming the most powerful version of you.
Yeah, it's quite the hook. But let's be clear up front. If you're thinking this is about, like, manifesting a bigger house or something purely external, well, that's not where the source goes. It forces you almost immediately to grapple with a fundamental spiritual choice.
Okay, what's the choice?
It's between manifestation, using your mind, your will to create desires out there in the world, and enlightenment.
Enlightenment, meaning surrender, letting go.
Exactly. Surrender, stillness, allowing life or the universe to kind of express itself through you rather than you imposing your will on it.
So it's a paradox, really. To get ultimate power, you have to give up the usual ways we think about power.
That's the core argument. Our mission today is to unpack why, from this viewpoint, real eternal power means stepping outside your temporary identity. All that mind stuff, as the source calls it.
Right, the idea that you need to become nobody to become everything. It sounds counterintuitive.
It is. Because usually power means being the best somebody, having the most something. But that's all temporary, isn't it? Tied to this limited existence.
Let's jump right into that scale problem then, because it really messes with how we normally think. We're often encouraged culturally to be the baddest monkey on the planet, right? Win the game.
Win the temporary game, yeah. But put that win, that life, against a cosmic backdrop. I mean, even if science let you live, say, 1,000,000 years, which is, unimaginable.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Well, yeah, but compared to the universe's 14 billion years, or eternity itself, it's like literally nothing. The source says life just washes us away with no effort.
Wow, that's humbling. So even achieving the absolute maximum in worldly terms is still limited.
Totally limited. But the source suggests there is a way to touch something beyond that limitation.
Wow.
Not by striving outward more, but by connecting deeply within, to the eternal.
So shifting the focus inward.
Right, because if the eternal is what watches, universe after universe come and go, then connecting with that means connecting with something timeless, something untouched by decay.
Okay, so this leads us to what you mentioned, the two paths, the dilemma.
Yeah, basically two ways to go. Path one is the default for most people. Striving upward, that constant push, expanding outward, trying to get from zero to infinity by being the best somebody possible.
Like the Buzz Lightyear approach. To infinity and beyond.
Yeah, kind of like that. But the source says that path is always tiring, always limited, always involves struggle.
Okay, so what's path two?
Path two is surrender downward, the enlightened way. It's about returning to nothingness, deliberately emptying the mind, achieving stillness.
So ultimate power requires zero effort, just stillness.
In a sense, yes. It's about aligning with the source, not fighting against the current.
But hang on. I mean, we need our minds, right? We live in the world. If I just dissolve myself and become still, what happens then? Do I just stop functioning?
That's a really important practical point. And it's not about becoming like a vegetable. It's about understanding what the mind is. The source calls it a pointed tool.
Be cool.
It's powerful, incredibly useful, but it is just a tool, and we get to choose where we point it.
So it's not about getting rid of the mind, but about directing its focus. We're always slaves to something based on where our attention goes.
Exactly. You choose your focus. And ideally, the source argues the purpose of spiritual practice, maybe even religion in theory, is to point that tool, that mind, towards the ultimate, the highest possible thing, God, the infinite, whatever you call it.
Why? What's the benefit of pointing it there instead of, say, my career or my relationships?
Because the thinking is, pointing your finite tool at an infinite target is, well, a better bet than pointing it at something temporary. Worldly goals, pleasures, they're fleeting.
They never leave you satisfied for very long, as the source puts it. That makes sense. We're always chasing the next thing.
And that constant chasing, that dissatisfaction, often comes from where we habitually point the tool maybe towards drama, anxiety, worry, needing approval.
The mind gets stuck in loops.
And the source connects this to how the mind actually creates boundaries. It even touches on brainwave frequencies, the electrical patterns in the brain.
Okay, hertz cycles per second. We don't need the deep science, but what's the connection they're making?
Well, basically, when your brainwaves are faster, your mind is highly active, analytical, busy making decisions. You're very much in your head.
Which sounds good, right? Sharp, focus.
It can be. But the trade-off, according to this view, is that the faster those waves vibrate, the stronger the feeling of separation becomes.
Separation.
Yeah, the illusion of being an isolated individual. I am me, separate from you, separate from everything else. The mind draws those lines.
Whereas slower brain waves, deeper meditation states.
Those are associated with feelings of connection, unity, rest, less me, more we, or even all.
Which brings us towards this idea of a 0 point. Zero frequency,
Yeah.
that's brain death, right?
Literally, yes. Zero is cessation. But here's the spiritual leap. The claim is that on the other side of zero is infinity.
Whoa. Okay, unpack that. Other side of zero.
Think of it conceptually. Below the lowest frequency isn't just nothing, it's everything. The infinite everythingness. God, source, the absolute. It grounds that idea, the kingdom of God is within you.
So achieving that deep inner stillness, returning to that 0 point,
Yeah.
that's where the barrier dissolves. The barrier the mind creates between me and God.
That's exactly the idea. The separation vanishes.
So the goal isn't really building a better self, but dissolving the self, getting rid of the barriers.
Precisely. Which leads nicely into the source's main metaphor here, the vessel of emptiness.
Okay, the vessel. Let's hear it.
Imagine 2 jars. First one.
Yeah.
It's made of clay, maybe it's a bit cracked, and it's filled with dirt, rocks, mud. That represents most people. The jar is the form, but the stuff inside. That's the conditioning, beliefs, stories, thoughts, all the mind stuff. The anxieties, the ego, the past hurts, the narratives.
Got it. The internal clutter. So what's jar 2?
Jar 2 is made of pure, shining gold. Perfect, pristine, no flaws. And importantly, it's empty. This represents the ideal, like a perfectly unconditioned being, say, a Christ figure.
Gold versus clay. Empty versus full of dirt.
Right. Now imagine the water of God, divine consciousness, life energy, whatever tries to pour through both jars.
What happens?
In the clay jar, the water hits the dirt and mud. It gets instantly corrupted, muddied, takes on the qualities of the junk inside.
Ah, so our conditioning taints the pure energy.
Exactly. But in the empty golden jar, the water flows through perfectly pure, completely unchanged. It retains its pristine nature.
Okay, that's a powerful image, but here's the kicker from the source, right?
Yeah.
What actually makes a jar useful?
It's not the clay, not the gold. It's the space, the emptiness inside. That's what holds the water.
So to be a perfect vessel for the divine, you need to be empty.
Bingo. And that makes the idea of denial of self seem less like a religious dogma and more like a practical instruction.
How so?
Well, the source basically says the more there is meaning, the more conditioning, ego, stories, mental clutter, the less space there is for God, for that pure consciousness to flow through unimpeded.
So it's an inverse relationship. Less of me, more of God.
Precisely. The less dirt in the jar, the purer the water that flows through. It connects to that idea of needing to come as little children to enter the kingdom, pure, unconditioned, without all the accumulated mental baggage.
It's about getting rid of the stuff that causes suffering,
Ah.
the ego's demands. If that dissolves...
Then the demands dissolve, the suffering dissolves, only the eternal, peaceful essence remains.
Okay, so let's say someone actually achieves this profound emptying, becoming this pristine vessel. What's the payoff? You mentioned power, dominion. What does that actually look like?
The promise is, well, it's huge. It's described as absolute dominion over reality.
Whoa, okay, what does that mean? Like bending spoons with your mind?
Maybe not literally like that, although who knows? It's more like when the pure light of God or consciousness shines through you without obstruction, the normal, perceived laws of existence, they don't bind you in the same way.
Why not?
Because you realize your true nature is that unlimited consciousness which created the laws in the first place. It's not magic in the sense of violating rules. It's realizing you operate from the level above the rules of the temporary game.
And the internal feeling, the state you reach.
Pure, absolute,
Yeah.
bliss. That's the term used.
Bliss.
Yeah, described as the very radiance of God, a perfect fusion of peace, love, and joy. And the most amazing part of the claim is
What?
that this bliss isn't something you achieve or earn. It's your default state.
Our default state is bliss. That seems hard to believe sometimes.
I know, because it's usually buried deep under all that mind stuff, the dirt in the jar. We spend our lives chasing temporary echoes of peace or joy out there when the real thing is supposedly waiting inside, obscured by our own thinking.
The source gives an example of this, right? A personal anecdote.
Yes, a really striking one. Waking up in the middle of the night, consciousness was fully aware, fully present, but the mind, the thinking, analyzing, storytelling part, hadn't switched on yet.
And what was the experience?
Pure, unadulterated, absolute bliss, just being. But the instant the mind flickered on, started thinking, wow, what is this feeling? Poof, gone.
Vanished just like that.
Instantly. Which illustrates the key point. The moment the mind, the sense of I, kicks in, it takes that raw energy, that inherent life juice, that bliss.
And what does it do with it?
It immediately starts using it to fuel the identity, to power the thoughts, the beliefs, the stories, the separation. It builds the very wall that cuts us off from the peace we were just experiencing.
Wow. So the mind literally hijacks the bliss to maintain the illusion of self.
That's the argument, which leads to this rather amusing idea the Source calls the cosmic joke.
Okay, I'm ready for a cosmic joke.
Well, if bliss is the default and everything is fundamentally this divine consciousness, then even something like science,
Our rigorous study of reality.
is literally just the study and interpretation and analysis of God, because everything is God. Every particle, every galaxy, every thought, we're all, in this view, like dream characters in God's imagination.
So scientists are studying God without necessarily realizing it.
Basically, yes. Studying the dream from within the dream.
Okay, that's a big thought.
Yeah.
The Source tries to break this down further, right? Reverse engineering the universe.
Yeah, into 3 core components, sort of like fundamental building blocks.
What is?
First, you have the stars. They represent the creative force, positive energy expansion. Think yang energy.
Okay, creation, light, pushing outward.
Then you have the black holes, the opposite force.
Yeah.
Destructive, negative, consuming, drawing everything back in. The yin energy, the void.
Creation and destruction, positive and negative. Yin and yang, what's the third element?
Binding it all, containing it all, is space. The neutral element, perfect emptiness, the canvas upon which the creation and destruction play out.
Stars, black holes, space.
Put it together, you have infinite energy, the interplay of positive and negative, creation and destruction, contained within infinite space, the neutral emptiness. And what does that equal?
Everything.
Everything. God. The totality. It reinforces the idea that separation is the illusion. Underneath, it's all one unified field.
It really does loop back perfectly to the start. Your true nature is that limitless consciousness.
Yeah.
The universal power is there if you can just clear out the interference.
Remove the conditioning, the dirt that's blocking the flow.
So bringing this right down to earth for you listening, maybe you're about to head out, start your day. What's the big takeaway here, it seems to be? If you genuinely want to access your most powerful self, maybe the goal isn't striving to be a better somebody, but rather prioritizing becoming nobody, emptying the vessel, returning to that stillness, that void.
And the Source gives a very practical, simple challenge for this. Something you can try tomorrow morning.
Okay, what is it?
When you wake up, before you leap out of bed, before the mental checklist for the day starts running, just pause. Don't move.
Just lie there. Or sit up.
Maybe sit up gently. Just be still for a few minutes. Meditate if you like, or just bring your awareness inside your body. Try to feel that very first flicker of awareness, that quiet, maybe even joyful, radiant stillness that's there before the mind fully boots up.
Before the thoughts take over.
Exactly. Just witness it. Feel that initial energy and then notice, consciously notice, the moment the mind does kick in and tries to pull you into thought, into planning, into you. Witness the separation starting.
That's a powerful exercise, just observing that transition.
It really is. Because the Source makes this incredibly provocative claim that the only thing separating you right now from having the same kind of effortless power, the absolute dominion of the great enlightened saints throughout history,
The only thing.
is your conditioning, your accumulated beliefs, your sense of being a separate self, that dirt in the jar.
Wow. That's a lot to absorb. It puts the responsibility squarely back on us, doesn't it?
It does. And it leaves us with a really potent question to maybe, mull over today as you go about your business.
What's the question?
What one belief about yourself, what one recurring story, one piece of that clay or dirt, maybe an old anxiety, a limiting thought pattern are you willing to consciously look at today? Willing to start dissolving, even just a little bit, to let more of that natural light, that default bliss shine through?
You don't have to solve it all at once.
No, absolutely not. Just pick one thing. What piece of the self are you ready to let go of, even slightly, to make more space for? Well, for everything else.
That's a deep challenge, something to definitely carry with you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for unpacking that. It's a radically different perspective on power. We hope you found this exploration of inner stillness and that 0 point insightful.
Yeah, food for thought, definitely. Much peace until next time.
Indeed. Many blessings, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.